made easy.
Thank you. And if you have any specific items that you'd like to hear about today, feel free to enter them in the chat as far as what you're really looking forward to learn in this webinar, the information you're really looking for as far as this program and these services are concerned. And also any other information helpful so that we can more gear the conversation to you specifically. How many of you are newly moving into managed services? How many of you are moving into managed services once you figure out this type of a program? This program is your stepping stone. If you are already doing managed service contracts, what's the majority of your business that's in that? Is it something that has been in the last 6 to 12 months, and you're still lining it out? Or, what's your situation? So any information that you could put about yourself, your company's position, and what your hopes are, we'll surely address that and make sure that we talk about those aspects. We'll wait just another minute, and then we'll get started.
Muted.
Thank you, Bennett. Thanks, Doug, Jacob, Dwayne. All right, and then again, for those of you who are just now joining on board, we will be taking questions throughout the presentation, so feel free to use the chat function to go to webinar. We got a big group today, so we'll probably keep it to chat only, and then I'll let you know when we're going to address your question, and we'll certainly have a Q&A time. All right, Jacob, thank you for the information as far as what you're looking for. So again, for everyone, Jacob's looking for requirements to back up SharePoint, specifically deployment of the client system. Is there an administrative dashboard for mass deployment, or how backing up and recovering SharePoint would work? So terrific. So we'll definitely address that closer to the end of the presentation. Thanks for letting us know. All right, well, I think that's enough time, so let's get started. So again, welcome to the SOS ServerSave Partner Webinar. My name is Derek Wood, and I'm the Partner Product Manager here at SOS. And today we're going to talk about everything involving this program, and why you want to join it and how it can make you some money. So first we'll go through a brief overview of SOS, where we've come from, so you know a little bit about our background. We're going to talk about what SOS has done, what we're doing now, and how it relates to you as far as why do you care, how can you turn this around to your clients and not only provide a much better service, but make a buck while doing it, which is really the whole goal of this operation. We'll also point out next steps. For more information, contacting our partner specialist team, who will run through a more specific ROI with you, a quick one-on-one session, and then you can take that and think on it as you will to determine, one, is this program beneficial to you? How beneficial is it, and at what level of the program should you enter to get the most return on your investment here? So without going too much into it, SOS has been around since 2001. We've been a leader in online backup since then as well. We were founded, as many tech startups are, was in a dorm room. So we were actually founded, instead of being a dorm room somewhere in Silicon Valley, it was in Melbourne, Australia. So we were an Australian, or we are an Australian founded firm, and our headquarters was in Australia until about 2009. From 2001 to 2005, the company had rather humble operations, mostly locally in Australia. The operations went global with an official launch to the U.S. market in 2005. In 2005, 2006, we came out with our version 1.3 beta, which was awarded by PC Mag, the editor's choice for online backup programs. So we came out the gate hot. So really good information and just a good start. and we haven't really looked back ever since. So we've now wrapped up 4 consecutive PC Mag Editor's Choice Awards, and PC Mag really puts, they're putting their name on the line. They really put the software they evaluate through the gauntlet. So it's not just a you pay and you get it type of situation. It's really more specific to how is the service, does it work out very well. And that was our consumer level services been boasted as the best in backup for explicitly making the process not only secure, but very simple. And security is the name of the game in backup, so that's important. Through 2009, we had a light affiliate partner program and a very heavy development-intensive OEM program where we did a lot of custom development work for major retailers. We saw in 2007, 2008 that the software as a service model was really taking off at that point, and we also saw that the SMB market was something that was best reached through IT service providers. So what we did is we scaled the benefits and the rebranding from our development-rich programs and made a really nice wholesale rebranded program that we launched in really July of or June of 2009. And since then, the company has grown so dramatically that we actually relocated our headquarters from Melbourne, Australia to here in Los Angeles, California within a year. So we more than tripled our growth rate for our partner program in that time, and just really have been putting all of our resources towards making this partner program the best in the market, which is evident in our continued growth. When it comes to the cloud backup market and what we look at today, we've been hitting it pretty well. The 2005 to 2009 period was primarily the innovators / early adopters. These people are mostly consumers. So the online backup market was primarily consumer-driven during that period. And even through 2011, we were seeing the consumer market alone growing the online backup market by about 30% year over year. So a huge growth market. And we're just now coming into this early majority phase, which includes SMBs. The reason small businesses typically didn't get into the early adoption / innovation phase is because, one, it's too risky to move into new technology. As an SMB, you have to be a little more conservative in what you're going for. Also, in the SMBs, and those of you who put out your, who you serve typically. When I say SMB, we're talking between, anywhere between 5 and 50 employees is kind of what we're looking at. So a couple of servers and some workstations. Maybe usually one workstation and then, 5 to 50 workstations. And as a lot of these SMBs already had some very expensive systems in place. So doing something like a tape backup system, only doing, image backups locally on site. And so they'd already spent the money and their budget, and they just had to really work that out. So we're now coming to a phase in the last year and growing, every month, where these systems are now expiring, whether the license is expiring or the hardware is expiring, as many of you are probably working with on a regular basis, dealing with old tape systems. So the IDC, who this is what they do, is survey businesses to see what the market trends are looking like, showed that only about 16% of the companies that they went through in the U.S. were using some sort of online backup. And the other, nearly 70% were looking into it. What was really interesting is if you look at the report, and if you have the IDC reports, the 16% that were using some sort of online backup were using it in a very limited scope. So they were, and it shows this graph here, we're really looking at a huge increase not only in adoption, but in the scope of adoption. So these 16% that are using it, most were using it in a single workstation just for their boss, and it was really kind of a continued trial system before making it a primary part of their overall backup solution. So the move into the early majority has a lot to do with cost. Of course, cloud storage costs have dropped dramatically over the last 5 years. So we've seen that help people move into it. Also, we've seen the faith in online backup services really grow. So there was a lot of uneasiness about a lot of companies going to online backup because of security reasons. And the security has been proven, so now people are moving into it. One part of that, as many of you probably see, is the advent of storage/sharing programs like Box.net or Dropbox, or even our own SOS Collaborate, which we'll be releasing to the business world in the next few months. But those services don't have the security really needed for most businesses, and that's one big separator between a backup system. But the faith in security, the people using it at their home, most people who are at home are working, so they take it back to their work. Really, the technical sophistication. Buyers have become more technically savvy in days to come. And also, it's just a default part of putting a true backup solution together. So what we have here is we have what we've met this year, and partly last year, partly this year, is what we're calling the price functionality inflection point. The cost of this type of a service is really becoming hugely attractive because of the increase in what you're getting with it. So not only with our system are you getting online backup space, but you now have the ability to do image-based backups of your systems. You don't have to pay per seat for these things. So the price of the service becomes almost a no-brainer when it looks at your overall budget. The budget increase for expenditures in IT service spending is estimated to triple over the next couple of years, from 1% to 3% of all IT expenditures. Now, 1% to 3% doesn't sound like a lot, but we're talking about billions of dollars. So right now, just last year it was nearly $2 billion. Right now it's well over 2.5. So we're really looking at a tremendous growth rate. And this is just the hard costs. Because this is being piggybacked on the managed service market, there really is an unknown cost here behind managed services. So coming out of a SaaS model, software as a service, it was about providing a software that would essentially do work for people. But now it's gone beyond software as a service, and it's gone to managed services. So it really doesn't matter what services you're putting in place as long as the management behind it is up to par. And what we find is the maturing of the IT service market in this respect. Every basic parts of any type of project management is it's cheaper to prevent than it is to fix later. And so we've seen this huge move from the break-fix market where your customers have a negative relationship with you. When they start feeling pain, something's not running, they're losing money, they're losing productivity, then they, on top of that, have to pay someone to come in and fix it. And it's an uneasy relationship, and really IT service providers were considered cost centers. How much is it costing us to pay this person to come fix things? When you move to the managed service market, you're looking at becoming an asset to that business. Moving into different parts of the business, not just being a risk manager, but also being on the lookout for things as far as putting prevention methods in place. And our system gives you that end-to-end point solution, and that's why we are so popular among IT service providers moving into the managed service market. So what people are looking at today, they're looking at for total business data protection, business continuity. So one of the big ugly words in the market is risk management. It's hideous. People don't like hearing it. It sounds expensive. It sounds unnecessary. But that's a large part of being an IT service provider. So looking at the figures we have up here, we're looking at, again, a huge adoption curve in what type of services people are going to look for in business continuity. This includes backing things up like SharePoint, SQL, Exchange. So check that right here for you. Using the image-based backup system that we have in Image Creator, you can cover these points. You do deploy the software. We'll go through the deployment method later, and I'll point out some articles for you later to take a look at, and also your partner specialist will be able to walk it through. But really, it's the end-to-end solution. What we've seen in the last 5 years with a lot of small businesses going out of business is through various surveys, through the IDC and others, we found that most businesses didn't go under because of a poor economy. Most of them were going under because of poor risk management plans. Business continuity is the new term for risk management in SMB. SMBs think risk management, that's too formal. We don't need to do that. But business continuity, it sounds productive. It sounds positive. So again, it's that move into a positive relationship with your customers. You have the same goal. Just keep it working. Make me work faster if I'm working slow somewhere. So it's really the move into this business continuity market is what's really growing services like these, and also growing businesses and maturing businesses like you all are operating. Anyone currently marketing business continuity plans, or is the majority still just looking through kind of, call us when something doesn't work and we'll come fix it? The break fix. If you were just getting started, we got one of our Jason saying it's tough to get people to spend on a monthly basis without an actual item to be worked on. And that's true, but what you can look at is, and we can get into that more a bit later, and I would love to, when you're pricing these things out and you're quoting people who are unfamiliar with a monthly recurring bill for IT services, it's all about your positioning. Put together how much they've spent over the time, and then you have to also calculate in the soft cost, productivity lost. What's the cost of a server going down and being down for 3 days while you rebuild it on top of what they're paying you, versus you just doing regular maintenance to make sure that that doesn't happen at all. And what you often find is your managed service cost, not only is higher margin for you because you have less sneaker time, but it's also more valuable to your customers. A lot of our partners end up finding that on average they'll charge a small business, let's say a small business of 10 employees, managed services will get up around $6,000 to $8,000 a month on recurring costs, but historically they were charging the same business the same, if not higher, for break-fix models. So there's a huge discrepancy in the value behind doing break-fix and managed services, and for the most part, the amount that they're going to spend on a yearly basis doesn't change. All right, moving right along. So how does our program get this to you? Well, we have what we call our 360-degree partner program, and all the aspects, especially when we're talking about the web integration package, just shows our commitment to making our partner program something that you can take and get to market quicker than any other program out there. The web integration package is unlike anything that you'll see from any other provider. We saw about a year and a half ago, we were finding that a majority of our partners were spending somewhere in the realm of $5,000 to $10,000 after joining our program to develop their website, billing integration with our APIs to get to market. So that get to market cost. I don't think anyone really argues with the fact that signing up for a new program is easy. It's getting the market part that really costs the most time and effort, whether it's training your staff or any of that. So we came up with this web integration package that not only has the SOS APIs integrated into it, but also integrates into Authorize.net, PayPal Pro, eWay for our Australian partners. And all you have to do to start collecting money from a shopping cart on your website is plug in your credentials for one of those systems, and you're good to go. From there, we built onto it. We put in a content management system, and soon we're going to have a CSS management system so you can mess with the styles. But for now, you pick a template, and you have control over the content that's on the page. So it gives you the tool to build out a product-specific site or a full website if you like. You just pick a template, and that's one you work within, and then you can add new pages and modify content, buttons. There's a file manager in it. We've also integrated in there a email system for mass emailing, so you can upload a file for all your contacts, and we'll show you that information as well. Other parts of the system are live weekly trainings. So most programs will just provide you with documents which are hard to keep up to date, especially if you're moving quickly like we do. It's difficult to keep documents as up to date as your changes are happening. Some of them will just have some training videos. Well, we do all of the above. We have documents, we have a knowledge base, and we're going to be adding a partner forum in the next 2 to 4 months. And then we also have live weekly trainings. So sometimes IO staff, sometimes we have our support staff, but they'll actually go through a level 1 tech support training so that you and your staff are qualified for 90% of anything you'll run into. So most all tech support is just that 90%. And then from there you utilize our staff. We have partner support here in Los Angeles, available 8 to 5 p.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday. And then we also have 24/5 chat support for our partners as well. So we do the live weekly trainings. We have a partner resource center for sales and marketing materials, which we update on a regular basis as well. A lot of it, most of it is neutral, so you can rebrand it yourself. With the delivery, we'll actually send you a rebranded product sheet that you can use or just base off your own collateral. So it's really something special. All we require is you fill out our survey, and then we'll be able to get you turned around within a week. So here's a competitive comparison between the partner programs with some of the major competitors like Intronis, Doyen, Zesigra, XZ Backup. And really you just find that, it's, and partner support, even though it's marked as 8x5 here, we do have 24/5 partner support, and we're going to be moving into, some weekend availability as well. So maybe, 9 to 5 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday in the next month or two. So we're excited about that move. But besides just the overwhelming amount of support you're getting from us in get-to-market materials, as far as the web integration package, the APIs, if you don't want to use the package and you have a more sophisticated implementation, no problem. You can just ask the APIs from your partner specialist, and we'll be able to get that out to you. You don't require any hardware, and just the price per gig is so much lower. I mean, we're talking just tremendous benefits in what you can provide to your customers and at what cost. You don't have to go out and buy a specific hardware like you have to do with Datto or Zenith Infotech. It's really just a margin-rich program. We're also one of the more globally operated options. So we have data center presences all over the world, and we're actually looking to add more all the time. So it's really terrific. If you need your data to reside in a specific country, no problem. Let us know, and we'll be able to arrange that. So it's really something special. So let's go to the product suite. What are you getting with this program? So here we have the SOS product suite. So we have, starting at 12 o'clock, we have what we've done with cloud backup. So cloud backup we put on hold temporarily. We'll pick that up back in the fall. But the idea is more and more is going to the cloud. But these cloud services aren't built for backup. They're built for mass use. So the cheapest servers they can get, just the most cost-effective, or really just the cheapest storage solutions that you can possibly get. Every day, thousands and thousands of Facebook accounts are in violation, or they're infiltrated by hackers or whatever the case may be. And Facebook and Twitter are continually and more regularly, you yourselves probably have Facebook and Twitter accounts that you use for business. So how do you protect the contacts and the friends that you've made from Facebook and Twitter? Well, we have an app for that. We're going to be, and once we get back onto the cloud backup cycle, we'll look at releasing generic versions of that, but there's no timetable for that. But it's just kind of a side projects we're working on. Primarily what we're looking at is going counterclockwise is back up your desktop life. Again, it's estimated still that about 60% of a business's data resides solely on individuals' workstations. That's a huge amount of risk. And of course, in any system, the user is the biggest risk factor of all, right? So this doesn't change. You're talking about technical resources. And even when you have terminal services where you just have a bunch of dummy machines, still users manage to find a way to get data off of your central management system. Also, when you have central management of data, it's a lot more data. So your frequency of backups and protection is going to be a lot less than if you're on a single workstation. Again, our backup program that you're going to be getting was rated as the best in backup against all the consumer services, but also has the security of a business service because that's what we focus on. And it's so simple and easy to use. You just deploy it, and then you can let your individual users have their own backup on a regular basis, every hour, every couple hours. And it's really light on the system because users typically, from a business perspective, don't typically have more than 10 gigs of data on their machine unless you're talking about your marketing guys, when they have lots of videos or images and things like that. So backing up your desktop is a huge aspect of your business continuity plan that a lot of people just forego. Like, how many people currently have a laptop fleet backup solution? Just a show of hands. So with the SOS program, we're giving you one. Then you have mobile life. So we have you'll all be delivered a mobile portal that users can sign in on from most mobile browsers, so they can search through their backup set and preview, depending on the browser, preview the file or share the file with somebody else. So on-the-go use of your backup system, proactive use of it, and that's just tremendous to be able to have. Because again, even if you have our Collaborate service as a consumer, which is live now or elsewhere, those types of services are not backups, and so you wouldn't typically have all of your data. But when you have everything you've ever used on your backup account, that's terrific. Also, because backup is so important, no matter if you're a business or a consumer, the leave behind business that you get is built right into our program. You can leave coupon codes behind. You already have a customer-facing sign-up page, and people, the individual workers, if they want to sign up for an account for their personal use at home, then they can do that. So you have a really low-touch sale, kind of passive sales. So maybe that was never part of your business model. Maybe it's not currently, but it's a rather effortless thing that we've already set up for you as a default part of our program. Then we could keep going down to about 5:30, 6 o'clock. We have backup your file data. So this is the server-based backup. This is your server-based, your file servers. File servers and desktops, we've always been fantastic at those. We've led the industry in. Backup your application data. This is the new stuff. This is where we just launched in November and what's really taken off. So now we've added Image Creator, which you can select the volume on your machines. This is for your servers. This is part of the ServerSave suite. You select the volume, create a full image, and then you can restore that image. We also have a cloud boot option. So if you take the image off-site thereafter using our backup program, then you can call in the SOS and say, hey guys, I need this image to be booted. Can you get that up for me? And with about a one-day turnaround, we can get you up and running in the cloud. We'll provide an IP for you, and you can log in and get at your data. So we have, with our suite of services, we're giving you a lot of different ways to back up and recover data that's important to you. So it's more specifically features and benefits. And we got a couple questions here. Exchange backup and granular recovery. Of course, with every server license that your client has, They have the ability for Exchange, granular recovery, and also Exchange backup. We have bare metal image creator, which can back up almost anything. There's SQL servers, SharePoint servers, file servers. You just select the volume that you want to protect. You put it on a schedule, and off it goes. Then with the online backup and recovery manager. So this is going to be used to get data offsite, whether it's just flat file data from your individual workstations. We use this program, file servers, or if you want to take the images offsite, you use this program to get them offsite as well. So workstation backup, we have as a separate item just to emphasize the fact that workstation backup should be a part of your backup strategy, as it's quite uncommon, but it's often one of the most useful. Then the Premier Web Integration Package, again, includes about 6 different systems that we've integrated into one web application that you can use. So rather than you having to spend the time and money on integrating these systems yourselves, we've done this for you. And if there are things outside of this package that you need done, then we have our APIs, and then you and your team can go in and specifically integrate our systems into your own portals if you have your own customer portal already, or your own merchant system, whatever you like. Then we have the mobile applications. So again, we have the mobile portal. If you go to m.manageoffsitebackup.net, then your customers can use that on almost any mobile browser. And we do have a generic iPhone application that's been released. So if you go to the App Store and search for Managed Offsite Backup, you'll see it come up. Apple did require that SOS Online Backup has to be named as the publisher. So it does put us out there, but to no worries, we're not doing managed service offering. So there's really no risk in losing business to us because of that. If you're still worried about it, then don't have to use it. You can always use the mobile portal. And then Android, same thing. We're going to be releasing a generic APK that you all will be able to put on your website, wherever you like, and your users can use that to back up and recover data from their droids. So that's really exciting, and the droid is not yet released. It'll be released in the next, right now we're looking at the next month and a half. All right, so I'm going to take a minute for some questions. Any questions on the features, what you're getting with the program? And I'm going to go through some of these questions. So Kathy asks, do you have data redundancy between your data centers? Yes, great question. So one of the big differentiators between our service and many other services is this data redundancy. So just to kind of go through the whole stream of security that we have and what makes us a very serious backup system is first we're going to encrypt your data at 256-bit AES. Then we're going to transfer your data over secure 128-bit SSL. And it's going to be transferred to one of our tier 3 or 4 rated data centers. All the data centers in the U.S. are tier 4 rated. So you can look up the tier rating to see all the detail behind that. So we're talking biometric logins, armed security staff, generators, if power goes out, over 18 lines of different ISPs in case ISP goes out, and then of course the redundancy across multiple data centers. So we do backup to multiple data centers. For those of you who do want country-specific limitations to where you want your backups, so a lot of our Canadian partners require that all the backups stay only in Canada. We only have one data center in Canada, so you lose out on the redundancy in that aspect. And that goes for anywhere except for the U.S., where we have 5 different data centers. All right, and then Benin asks, break fix solution. Are you saying that your backup can image files and push them to computers? I'm confused. No, so it's not a push. So let me first describe break fix. Break fix means your relationship with your customer is that you only go out and do work for them if something breaks and you need to fix it. All right, there's no proactive monitoring, or they're not paying for proactive monitoring, and you do it yourself, which is probably a mistake. The managed service market looks a lot better in the fact that you have aligned your goals with your customers' goals. So it requires a different relationship. You have to provide better reporting as far as what you're doing every month so that they don't think, oh, nothing's been breaking. We don't need Bennett anymore. And it's like, no, nothing's been breaking because these are all the things I've been doing. So it's important that you have that. And most RMM programs, remote monitoring and management, have really great reporting that you can put out. And the backups, obviously, have reporting that you can put out to people. And about the image backup off-site and the image and how you can recover it. So we have a couple of different strategies that you do. When you do image-based backups, of course, whenever you're running a backup, we recommend that your backup should not be on the same machine that you're backing up. Just definition of a backup. So when you're doing image-based backups, the strategy we have is to go through an image system wherein you have a staging machine. So you just take a Windows 7 box, something of that nature, enough RAM and hard drive space to handle all the data you're throwing to it, and you go off-site. So let me pull up the website, and then we'll go right into I think this would be a good time to go into a demo. But if you go to sosonlinebackup.com and go to support, and you come to our knowledge base, and we go to ServerSave. Under our general FAQ, we have how should I set up SOS in my environment? And this is a good article, as well as do I need a staging server? So this one goes into detail as far as how you deploy the different applications, online backup, image creator, and exchange granular recovery, and then a little more detailed mapping of how this works on the SOS side of things as well. So that's a good article to look at, and that's how should I set up SOS in my environment. The other one that I really like is this, and we have some different names because when it's SOS branded, we call the online backup and recovery image stream. But what we have is we have an image creator. You create an image you install this on one of your servers, and then you throw that to some network location, so a staging machine. The staging machine, again, doesn't have to be a server, just a dedicated machine to host your backups. It can also be very valuable in recovering data. And it becomes both backup location for data and also a backup piece of hardware, essentially. From the staging machine, you use the online backup, or what we call image stream. We use the online backup and recovery manager to push those images off-site. Now, talking about getting backup off-site, we have a question from Doug about performance statistics. Well, one, there's a lot of local things that affect the backup. We are one of the freest systems as far as we don't throttle your bandwidth down. So if you have, a 10 meg pipe, a 10 meg upload speed, you're going to be running backups at close to 10 megs. You lose a little based on what you're using and also on the SSL, but for the most part, we're not going to throttle you. Almost every other service in the market is going to throttle to about 1.5 or 2 megabits per second. So we're easily the fastest. We have some good stats on that too. And then for workstations, you just install the online backup and recovery manager directly on these things, and then you just run them off-site individually. And then when you go to your recovery suite, you'll just see a big list of machine names. And here we have some performance statistics. If we go back to home, we have this speed test here that you can take a look at. You'll learn more. And again, we have a comparison over what we had, and if you want more details as far as the environment details, you can look here. But this was at a 2.5 to 3 megabit per second upload speed connection that this was being tested on, and we were still dramatically faster. And this was actually done before our version 5 code base was out, which was just released this April, or this March, sorry. So we actually saw in the same backup sets, we saw a 40% increase in speed for backup, and that was due to a whole new code base. We rewrote our backup algorithms, so the whole backup engine is brand new. It's a lot faster. The compression method is faster. The encryption method is faster. The way that we build out the file structure system is faster, the database we use is faster, the back-end database is faster. It's just really dramatic. We've seen about an 8x increase in recovery speed, both in refreshing data and in actually getting it back. But as far as statistics, how quickly can you back up, how quickly can you recover, there are both local and network-based items on the customer side that will determine that. But for the most part, you're not going to worry about SOS slowing you down. And we do have services for data seeding, quote unquote. We don't the security behind our data centers doesn't actually mean that we're going to walk into a data center and plug in a drive. There is not that type of access. And we have instructions behind it too. So if you go through our knowledge base and search for PMU, for physical media upload, you can come to this article and you can see how we go through this. And you don't have to go through us for it. Most of you can do it yourselves, and most of you would probably prefer that. So again, it's a free program as far as we want to give you as much control as possible. All right, let me open up the remote session on a Server 2008 box, and we'll go through a quick demo. We have a lot of questions. Thanks for coming through. Okay, everyone's seeing the new desktop, and we have the SOS ServerSave. Actually, we have the Acme branded ServerSave application launched. Does everyone see this? Okay. A couple questions before we get going. Bennett, what about restore speed? If restore is needed ASAP, can we get a physical device shipped to us? Well, again, you have multiple ways of recovering data. You have the staging machine with data, so as long as your location doesn't burn down, you have that as an option. If, let's say you lose the whole office, you don't have that local backup, and you've been running it off-site, we have a cloud boot option, which is per order, and it costs $500 a week right now, and what we'll do is we'll mount your image, or we'll mount your machine in our VM environment and provide you access details to it. Doug asked, can you back up from Linux and therefore use a NAS drive as a staging machine for image backups? Yes, we're actually, well, right now, NAS support, you have to make sure that the drives are mapped. In the next couple of weeks, though, we're going to be having a new UNC path support. So not just NAS support, but you specify where on the network you want to be able to pull stuff, and it's not a problem. So yes, if you wanted to back up Linux or say a Mac server, then that's how you would do it. You would have the staging machine be a Windows box and pull data from anything else. Sean asked, how does compression work? I was looking at my files being backed up. File folder compression was minimal on JPEG files. File compression on XML rich text was good. Please explain. Well, quick lesson on compression. That's just how it works. When you have JPEG images, videos, music files, those things do not compress very much. So you don't expect a lot of compression from such a file. When you have things like documents, PST files, databases, there's a lot of compression, because it's mostly text-based, and so you can really bring down just the data. So that's just by nature of how compression works. But we're going to compress it about as much as it can be compressed. Okay, so first, let's create, we've opened up our ServerSave application, and this is our suite of applications that we have. We have Workstation Backup listed as a separate application, but really, you're just going to be using Online Backup and Recovery. So you'll just have 3 of these applications. Backup, our bare metal image creator. So let's see what we can do here. So we open this up, and we get our wizard view. We have a wizards tab for backup, restore for a full machine, and explore backup, which is a very common and very fast way of recovering image files. We have our Windows Volume Manager here. You don't really need to come in here and use this at all, because it's all handled on the wizard side of things. Backup jobs gives us a list of backup jobs so you can execute it now. You could pause it, you could delete it, you could edit the properties of this thing. I'm just going to delete it for now. I'm going to recreate it for the demo. We have destinations. Again, this is handled in the wizard, so you don't really need to come here. And then backup history. Gives you real clear information. So like execution failed, you look through and you get real clear English that it says there's not enough space on the disk. So you just knew that your F drive was full. And then you go and or your destination drive was full. So you just go and you create more space for it. Going back to the wizard, let's create a backup job. So first step is, well, what volume do you want to back up? You can select multiple volumes, or I'm going to select one. We have this view and this view. So we have exchange volume for our demo, which is 5 gigs. Hit next. And this is where you would select your staging machine. So your staging machine, you have your network location, and you would define where your staging machine is. Again, back to the question with Doug about using a NAS. Really, the benefit of a staging machine is more than just storage. It's really the processing speed, the CPU behind it. It's having a separate machine. So I recommend, again, kind of like what we have for a PMU machine. It's essentially with the same setup you would want for your staging machine. And I think we put it together for about $600 or $700. About 12 gigs of RAM. You probably wouldn't, you don't even need that much, but it gives you enough RAM where you could split it into a couple different VMs if you need to recover it in that way. So it's just really nice. Not that expensive. And most people should have some type of staging machine in there already, or backup location. So right now I'm just going to select the F drive, because that's what we have set up for the demo. Scheduling. So pretty typical schedule. Most people are using this with tape systems, and you would do exactly this. A full backup on the weekend, incremental throughout the week, and then another full backup on the weekend. And the reason you do this is because of limited drive space, management of versions, and because of the painful recovery method. Usually to get to, let's say we had to recover a Thursday's backup, we would have to first recover Sunday's full, then Mondays, then Tuesdays, then Wednesdays, and then Thursdays. It's very manual, very time-consuming, kind of a pain. So you don't want too many incrementals, so that's why you run a full backup every weekend. Well, with this technology, it's very simple. You just select the most recent incremental that you want to recover to, and you hit Mount, and it'll just intelligently attach all the file chains that you need to get that done. So you can have as many incrementals as you want. It's no big deal. Also, if you're going off-site with this, it doesn't make sense to take let's say we have a 500 gig server. Server is typically compressed when you take an image of the main volumes to about half. So if you have 250 gigs you got to get off-site, that could take a long time. With a 2 megabit connection and a healthy machine, you're generally looking at about an hour per gig of data to 30 minutes to an hour. So an hour, give or take 15-20%. But you can't do that every week. That's just way too much data transfer. And with this system, you don't have to. So we're going to run a full backup now, and then we're going to run an incremental every hour from 8 to 6. At the end of the day, it's going to consolidate those 11 incrementals into a single incremental, which is part of a self-healing procedure it goes through. Because one big problem with backup exec was that you didn't get a confirmation that the incrementals were good, just that they were completed. So this has a built-in self-heal to it. So then you are only ever uploading incremental files, which are usually going to be less than a gig every day. So an hour per day, and you have an updated image-based backup in the cloud. That's very nice in that sense. Notice we have VSS checked as to use VSS. If you have anything else installed that's using VSS, you're going to want to uninstall that or just deactivate it. VSS doesn't like being shared. The benefit of using VSS is that databases with a VSS writer, which is any SQL database, most databases out there that have been recently developed, means we're going to get a transactionally consistent backup. Transactionally consistent backup means we take a snapshot of the volume, and before we do that, we're going to negotiate with every database that's running and say, hey, database, we're about to take a snapshot. Can you finish up with whatever you're doing? And then pause for a second so we can take a snapshot, and then you can continue. Because what the problem is with backing up open databases is that you may cut off a transaction period, and then you don't really have a true backup because you're going to be at risk of losing data. For example, let's say Doug is buying a, do I need to go into that a little more detail? Anyone want more detail on transaction versus crash consistent backups? Crash consistent is very common in lower end imaging systems, so you want to make sure that you have this. All right, looks like everyone's good. So VSS Writer, if the database doesn't have VSS Writer, not a problem. What you can do is you can come in, and let's say if we wanted to use encryption, I'll show you this method as well. We go to Advanced, and then you can put a pre-snapshot command in here. So if you have an old database, usually it's some old accounting database that's being used, you could put in a script to stop or finish processes, and then it will take a snapshot, and then you can put another script to restart it. The VSS Writer negotiation is done in milliseconds, so it's not an effect. If you have to do this, it may be a little effect on your database, but you just schedule when you don't really need that, when you want this to happen, of course, so when it's appropriate. But you have options for those older programs that you may still be painfully dealing with. And also part of managed services means you'll have more time to do things like find updated and better pieces of software for your customers who are using things that are very outdated. Encryption method, this is for the local backup system, that is. So for HIPAA compliance, is required to do 128-bit AES on a local device. So if you're doing a machine image that has healthcare records on it, then you would need to put a 128-bit AES encryption on there. Let's get out of here. So you can set that up here. Again, compressions, STI, standard, medium. You can split the image for better handling of the data. So we recommend splitting your images up into 50 gig chunks is really the optimal performance. I would say the biggest you would want a file to be would be 100 gigs. And there's a lot of things that go into why you would want smaller files. But again, splitting the image doesn't really give you a management pain because it's an intelligent file chain. So again, it's what used to be kind of painful to, oh, then now I have X as many files to have to recover through. You don't have to manage that anymore. So it doesn't complicate your system. It's just going to make your online backup and recovery procedures a lot faster if you do. So I would just put in something like, just round numbers, something close to 45 gigs or so. That way you can get that done. We go to next, finish, and then it's going to run a backup at the top of the hour. Then we go to our online backup and recovery manager. We run this. And we're coming to the top of the hour. So we'll be giving out the Kindle code, and in the Q&A to enter we'll automatically enter you into the Kindle code once you sign in, once you call into the partner specialist, if you'd asked a question. So if you have a question and you want to get into the Kindle drawing for a free Kindle, then please put in your questions now. So we have the backup wizard. We got to set up online backup. We can do a scan of all folders, just the personal. We can do custom scans, so you can specify or exclude. You can include or exclude specific folder directories or file types or file sizes. Or you say, do not scan, I want to use the Windows file tree only. And this is going to load up and it's going to show you what Windows sees. So you can see all these virtual drives. So we say, okay, I want to backup drive F because that's my backup destination for these images. So we had that selected. Currently see it's a 10 gig account and selected just under 8 gigs. So we hit next. Then it's going to ask you for a schedule. When do you want the online backup to run? Ben, you're good, buddy. You've asked some questions, so you're in the drawing. And and again, you got to the final way to enter is by calling in your partner specialist. And then they'll be able to walk through a nice ROI where they'll specifically go through with you, your business, what you can do with that. Okay, so you can back up the end of the wizard. If you're on a Windows domain environment, then you can put in your domain credentials so that you can run it when the user's logged off. Email backup reports, and you hit finish, and then the backup's going to run. To restore, you online restore. You can pick the date which you want to restore to, or just go to the most recent. And you see here we have a whole list of machines. So we can just check that and say I want to select everything, or you can click through and get your Windows tree view to see what's going on here. So if you wanted to recover, say, backup job 1, you just go through. And there's 57 incrementals here, so you would just go through and shift select all of these, right click and say, check all, and then recover, and hit next. So let's say we recovered that data, then we go back, and then we can do two things. We don't even have to open up the software again. Let's say we're coming from the backup location F. I can right click this and say quick mount, and it's going to create a virtual drive and set up this. So you can see that it just created virtual drive I, and now it's open. It was that quick, seconds to get that done. Or we can go back to this wizard, and we go to Explore Backup. We'll have the questions about the program. We'll get that in just a second. We'll get that in just a minute. So you select what image you want to get to. Let's say we'll just select this one here. We'll say open, give you information about it. Then it's going to say, hey, we recognize a whole lot of incrementals. There's 17 incrementals. Which one do you want to recover to? And I say 17. Hit next. What drive letter do you want to create as you create this virtual drive? Say J or whatever you want. I'm going to make it read and write. And hit next. Then it's again the intelligent file chain recovery. Hit finish, and then there we go. We're up and running again. Then exchange granular recovery. So we just recover that to drive J. So very simple. So we go back to ServerSave and say we want to get to that exchange database. We open up our source. So let's go back to the computer. We'll say, okay, let's get drive J, exchange. We search through and get the EDB file. Hit OK. Terrific. So you can select a target, whether it's just a PST file or more commonly, like what I'm doing now, an active exchange database. And it's going to authenticate based on the Windows username that we're logged in as currently. And it's going to load up what the current exchange environment looks like here. Now let's say your common request, hey, I just lost an email and it had a really important attachment, something about management. Can you find it for me? Please, please, please. So we say, okay, user 2 comes in, and we're going to search through for a management attachment. We find now, comes up with these images. Let's do a preview to make sure it's the right one. You see the email, here's the attachment, management guide. Is this the one? Yes. Terrific. So then we just expand this. So we see his inbox, and we just drag and drop this right into his inbox. And now he's got it. So it was very simple to do. If you needed to, for whatever reason, extract all of these to a mailbox, and you can send them all. Oops, sorry. You can recover an entire mailbox by just dragging and dropping it here, or you can take an entire EDB and move it to dissimilar or similar hardware. You say, okay, it's going to make the mailboxes for you that it doesn't already exist. So very simple, very powerful, and If there are any questions on that, let me know. I'm going to go right back to our slide and go over the partner program startup costs. So again, there's some more, again, what we're giving you with the SOS ServerSave partner program is just leaps and bounds beyond what anyone else is doing. No one's giving you the full end-to-end solution that we're giving, especially from a partner program get-to-market perspective. The web integration package typically comes from every other partner you go to. They're just going to give you the APIs, and you're going to spend $5,000 to $10,000 in a few months developing behind those. With what we just give you as a default part of the program. Again, here's some more stats on what we found with the new 5.2 software, so just much faster. And and here's the competitive landscape again. File and folder backup, just this small segment, very saturated. This is where we're operating now, and we're the only one who's giving you an end-to-end solution. So it's yours for the taking. So we've given you a price point, which we'll discuss. Dwayne, is a good question that we can get you at. So Dwayne asked, I was told by a sales rep that the white label cost is 32 cents per gig. I noticed your presentation said 11 cents. What is the correct price? Right. So one, it's not a white label cost. When you're paying 32 cents per gig, the base price is it's a monthly recurring subscription that you have to a specific amount of cloud space and or server licenses. So it's not that you're paying for white label. It's just part of the program. So one of the base models that we have coming in is we estimate that you can price it out at as low as 31 cents per gig per cloud would be a cost for you. But what we see an average margin is much higher. So, and the reason we had 0.11 gigabytes is because you can buy additional cloud packs. So as your business expands, as you sell this more and more, you can buy additional cloud packs, multiple terabytes at a time, and really get your buy rate much lower. Jacob asks, I typically serve enterprise customers, not many SMBs. Do you have any technology to manage backup policies and settings across multiple servers, potentially separate policies for different server clusters? That's a great question, Jacob. Right now, we do not have that central management aspect because we just rebuilt the whole code base. So what we look at now is, if I bring up our website, and this is to come, you come into this dashboard, and because we did have, and what we called was Pulse. It was a Pulse management agent. And we're going to see that technology come out over the next, more and more over the next months. So under this, we have our central management portal. This is our main partner dashboard. We have our central management portal, and a lot of these are, older trials, but it gives you a lot of information as far as activity of reports, so it gives you monitoring, and we will have management aspects of this in time. Right now, it's not available though. So you have, a little update as far as how long it's been running, what it's uploaded. So we have this guy, he's almost about a gig, and he's just about an hour into it, so he's right on track. Do we have initial startup costs to get this going? No, there's no startup costs. You just have to pick a program that you want to come in at. So if you go to our partner program, our partner specialist, they'll go through an ROI with you to determine which one you want to get into. So you can get into a program for as little as $3.99 a month, or you can get higher if you have a bigger customer base. So it really depends what makes sense for you. Again, we take our partner program seriously, and we're not interested in misplacing anyone. So call in our partner specialists, and they're available now, 877-896-3611. They're going to walk you through all the programs, the pricing options, what you can sell this at, your potential margin, all of that. And it'll be based specifically on your customer types and how you currently deal with them. So it's a very personal one-on-one relationship that you can get on board to make sure that we have this going on. Kathy says there are quite a lot of failed backups on this example. I'm concerned about reliability. Don't be. So the management agent here, because of the failed backups, these are trials. So we do our trials for you. So if you wanted to do a trial, we can monitor how your trial is going. Failed can mean two things. One, the backup failed on the network for some reason. It didn't check in regularly. So our backups check in every 15 minutes when they're running. But most of these are no backups run during the last week. So that just means it's not running backups anymore. So if you go to example, it's not scheduled. So reliability should not be a concern. So there's two different red boxes here. Does that make sense? And again, talk to your partner specialist, and they'll run through it with you. They'll give you a trial if you want. Very reliable service. Reliability is the key to backups. You can't really have a backup service if it's unreliable. So any other questions? Again, 877-896-3611. Looking into the web integration package, for those of you who want to stick around for another minute, the web integration package is, again, it's really something special. So this whole portion is what we have available for you. So if I go to just launch web package, this is going to put me right into the back end of our web integration package. The web integration package, again, is what we found a lot of our partners were working on after they came and signed up with our service. They needed to integrate it into a merchant system or into their other systems, whatever it may be. And we found that a majority of the integration needs could be solved with something that we could provide our partners. So you don't have to go out and get a web developer to do this stuff. We've already built it for you. So if we go to the bottom here, it starts off with gateways. So we support 4 different gateways, PayPal Pro, Authorized.net, and eWay. We have PayPal Standard if you must use it, but there are a lot of PayPal Standard limitations. We don't recommend it. But most people are using PayPal Pro or Authorized.net or eWay if you're out of Australia. So don't expect we have an Australians on the line today. It's a little early for you. We have a big mailer setting. So if you go to mailer, you can send out mass emails, and it gives you some statistics as far as bounce emails, open rate, click-through rate. So it gives you a little get-to-market, marketing tools. We have a built-in support ticketing system, real basic, so you can go through. You can manage different categories and statuses, so just something kind of built into it. We have a really nice content management system built into this. So we've actually integrated CK Editor into this package, and it gives you a customer-facing website, or gives you the tool to build one anyways. So you would select a template from us. We have a choice of a couple different templates, and then we'll put up kind of a skeleton with some placeholder pages, which there are 5, and then from there you would just use the simple visual editor. So we go to Home, and we go to Edit. You can see that you have SEO metadata to set, so if you want to work with some SEO stuff, you hit Edit here, and you see it, the visual editor. Here's what it looks like in the editor. Here's what it looks like live. So except for the size difference, you pretty much, what you see is what you get, the WikiWik. So very simple to use, real-time changes. You can even create different coupon codes for your sign-up page. So if you wanted to have a coupon code that a percentage discount or a dollar discount limited by a time period or by a specific number of uses, you can do that. So you can use the mailer to contact customers and say, first 50 users get 80% off, or whatever you want to do. After that, use this discount code for 10% off. Something that generates some buzz. Use your Twitter feed to go out and say, first 50 users get 50% off this service. So it's something that you can really get through. Then you can set the currency that you want to bill in. If it's not USDs by standard, but you can select the currency. You can adjust the pricing and the titles of the pricing. So if we go here, we go pricing and sign up. Then you can see the contact information that they have to fill out, and they go through all this information. So you can say, 30-day online backup trial account, whatever it is, and then you can put your different items here. It's a fully built out system. And then of course, if you want to go to backup users, you see all these users here. You can view their details as far as use space, total space, purchase history. You can edit their contact details as far as who owns the account. You can change their email. You can reset their password as long as they're not ultra-safe. So ultra-safe is a HIPAA compliance setting that you would set upon account creation, and it means that there is no way to recover the password, which also means you can't reset the password. So that's for U.S. HIPAA compliance. So again, this package is really unlike anything that anyone else offers. Most of our partners use it in some range of I use it for everything or I use it very little. Starting from the I use it for everything, maybe your web presence isn't that great, or you just haven't had time to put any time or money into web presence, then you can build out pages pretty simply to describe other services you're doing. The card only works for, as far as account creation, only works for backup service. But again, if you change the title to say this also includes this, and you just define what this is, then you'll see the sign up, you get a notification, and then you can fulfill that order however works best for you. Then more commonly, our partners use this as like a pseudo product site. So it's something that it's product specific. They have their main web page, and then they have maybe Kathy's technology services, and then she has Kathy online backup. The other range is some people use it only for the sign up and login page. So they literally don't use any of these pages, and they just use the login and the sign up, which is completely fine. And then on the far end, we have those people who have a little more complex requirements, or just requirements aren't satisfied by this, and they take our APIs and then they build out the integration needs they need when it comes to our services. So we did our best to really cover a majority of our partners, and then of course we still have the flexibility to give you our APIs so you can work within those. Does that sound pretty good? Any questions that weren't really answered? What expectations do you have? Really, again, if you go back to our partner specialists, they'll be able to answer any additional questions you have. All right, well, I think that'll pretty much settle it up for today. Got one question, how do I get a hold of a partner specialist? Again, 877-896-3611, extension 1, and you'll go right into our partner specialist team. If you're not available now, you can always just call at another time or send in an email. Ben asks, how long is the trial we offer? It's a 15-day trial. So 2 weeks to play with the software and see what you think about it. And again, you can get that set up through your partner specialist. If you want to get entered into the Kindle drawing, again, you got to call into your partner specialist and give them your contact information, and then ask them to be entered into the drawing.